Good morning and welcome to Unity Roanoke Valley. Okay, thank you Janice for that lovely piece. Where's that lighter? As I light the candle, please join me. There is only one presence, one power in the universe, in our lives, God the good. Okay, Janice?
Everybody, it's great to see you today. I've been kind of sick lately, COVID, and I'm slowly getting over it. So I've asked Hampton, kind of like my knight in shining armor, he's always there if I need him, and he's agreed to sing with us today. So if you'll stand up, let's just do one congregation song today, Sacred Love. We've got another one coming up. Stand up and let's sing together. Here we go. Here we go.
You are sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place.
Such a
holy place. You are blessed peace is all that you are. You are blessed peace is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are blessed, your deepest joy is all that you are. You are deepest joy is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. We are sacred love is all that we are. We are sacred love is all that we are. We are sacred love is all that we are.
good job. Thank you.
Join me together as we do our vision statement, please. Centered in God, we embrace a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission statement, to inspire positive change in our spiritual lives and in the world. And the minister search affirmations, Using our spiritual powers, we interweave diversely among us to one united vision for unity of Roanoke Valley. We know the right minister for us is being divinely led to join us. With love, we are open to give and to receive what is needed and what is to come.
Great, thank you. Well, for the first special music, I was thinking quite a lot, and actually sometimes, at some weeks, the service doesn't really come together till the last moment, so I really thank Bill for jumping in and fixing up the PowerPoint for us. I just want to talk to you for a minute. Every once in a while I get my books and I'm heading into the parking lot to my car after the service, and it may have been a particularly good, uplifting, good energy service. We may have had a special guest or something happened, everybody was feeling good. And every once in a while, somebody will stop their car and roll down the window and say, hey, hello, and we'll talk for a while. And how did you like the service? Did you feel good about it? And hand on the steering wheel. Yeah, it was really good, but every once in a while, I'd really like to hear a hymn. And I get it. I get it. So those of you that feel that way, I get it. But this is your lucky day if you're one of those people, because we have a hymn to sing today, and we're going to do it together. We're going to send the song up. A song is nothing but a prayer in my personal experience. And this one is called I Come to the Garden Alone. And it's particularly poignant for today's service, as Reverend Ginny's going to be talking about Alice in Wonderland. And if you remember, when she went down the rabbit hole, she got into this strange place, and she really was alone. And that's one of the themes of Alice in Wonderland is dealing with loneliness and having to navigate unfamiliar territory by yourself. I watched the movie, in preparation for today, I watched the movie with Johnny Depp. If you have not seen that movie, you have to see it. It's amazing. Don't assume that you remember the song from childhood or the movie from childhood. It's really powerful, and I'm so pleased that we're going to get to hear Reverend Ginny talk and give us her wisdom about the movie, about the book. So let's put on your listening ears for a minute. I Come to the Garden Alone is one of those old-timey hymns. It was written in 1912. And I know it's not unitized, but we're going to unitize it in a little bit. So I'm going to play you the melody, and just listen to it. I bet you know it. So we're going to just do 2 verses of it, and the chorus goes like this. And the words are, he walks with me and he talks with me. And the first time we sing it, we'll sing he walks with me and talks with me. And the second time we do it, we'll sing she walks with me and she talks with me, just to get Father, Mother, God in there. But other than that, try to hear this song with your metaphysical ears and your metaphysical heart. And if the words bother you in any way, just hum the song, because it's still a really wonderful song. But I love it. So here we go. I'm just gonna help me sing it. Do we have the words? Can we change the slide? Do we have the words? What? Okay. We don't have the words. I come to the garden alone while the dew is still on the roses. You know it? And the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. That's the first verse. And the second one is, he speaks, the sound of his voice is so sweet the birds hush their singing, and the melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. And if you don't know the words, don't worry, just hum the song and it'll be good. Here we go. Here we go. I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the rose. And the voice?
And the voice I hear falling on my ear.
The Son of God discloses, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. Wow, I'm impressed. You know all the words. Here we go. He comes to the sound of his voice, is so sweet Thank you.
And now I would like to introduce Bill Martin to come forward for the daily word, please.
Thank you, Josh. And before I do that, let me apologize to Janice. I misread the email this morning and did it incorrectly. Sorry. Our daily word today is let go and let God. I bravely release outworn behaviors and embrace my bright, brilliant future. Holding on to what no longer serves me because it is familiar and I've grown accustomed to it may stall my growth. I evolve much more quickly when I trust my guidance and release old patterns and behaviors. In my heart, I know that when I move away from a dysfunctional relationship, a negative attitude, or an unhealthy way of living, I move towards something greater: peace, safety, harmony, freedom, and fulfillment. I let go of anxiety and fear and open myself to happiness and security. I breathe in freedom. My heart becomes buoyant and my steps lighter. I set my intention today to release anything I have been fearful of letting go so that I can confidently move forward, open to infinite good. And our verse today from Matthew 18:18. Truly, I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. At this time, we are having the spiritual healing prayer team. I invite the prayer chaplains serving today to come forward for the healing prayer. Our prayer chaplains are available for 20 minutes after the service for one-on-one prayer for you or for another in the prayer chapel, which is to my immediate right. And another member of the spiritual care team is seated in the back of the sanctuary, serving as keeper of the flame. This person sits in a meditative state throughout the service, holding sacred space of love, peace for our spiritual community and beyond. If you have a prayer request you would like to leave in the prayer box today, there are request forms available by the prayer box in the foyer, or they can be left in this box up front. These requests are sent to the spiritual care team to be held in prayer, and also sent to the silent unity to be held in prayer for the next 30 days.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you. And what a pleasure and joy it is to join our hearts in prayer. So if you would, at this moment, just breathe. Feel the light of God all around you, in the air that you breathe, in filling you and opening your heart. And as our hearts open and soften, we release. We release and we let go of anything that does not serve us anymore, perhaps never served us, perhaps held us back. Now we are open and willing to receive and to give. We release all negativity, any unforgiveness, anything that would hold us back from our highest and best good. We hold this vision in mind also for those who have placed names in our prayer boxes. And we see that releasing and healing taking place right now within us, within those we love. And we send this love out around the world that it may heal, that it may bless, that we may be blessed in the loving. We are so grateful this day for all our many blessings and the opportunities that we have to bring us closer to our source. And we go forward in gratitude. And we say thank you. Infinite presence. And so it is. Amen.
And now I would like to introduce the lovely lady of the hour, Reverend Ginny Roll.
Da, 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 da. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. How is everybody doing today? Good. So today, last time I was here, what did I do? I did the book. What was, wherever. Dr. Seuss. Yeah, I forgot already. So today, we're going to do another story. We're going to do Alice in Wonderland. And, exactly the way Janice said, it would be so much fun to go home, get the book, or watch the movie, and write all the names down. There's 24 characters in this story. So I'm only going to do 18. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But and we're going to look at this through our metaphysical eyes, which is this beautiful way to study or look at just anything you pick up to read. And you look at it with a certain set of eyes, and this is the way it's always been interpreted. And then you take it into your heart and you go, well, how does this speak to me? We do it with the Bible, which makes the Bible so much richer, because we look at the Bible stories and say, well, who am I? Am I Samson? Am I Adam? Am I Mary? And you metaphysicalize it. Take it into your heart. Metaphysical refers to the inner or esoteric meaning of the name defined as it applies to every unfolding individual and to one's relationship with God. But you can do it not just with the Bible, but anything you read. So that's what we're going to do with Alice in Wonderland today. The book was written by Lewis Carroll, which his name was actually Charles Dodgson, in 1865. He was an English writer, a mathematician, a logician, an Anglican deacon, and a photographer. Now, this is the coolest part. All of the creatures are people that were at Oxford at that time. So really, they were real people acting certain ways that he captured in this book. So I think that makes it very so much more fun. And then there was another book written by David Day, who wrote the book Alice in Wonderland Decoded. And what he did, he looked at the book and tried to find the many hidden meanings in the book. Now, we're going to find the many hidden meanings for ourselves. This is just my interpretation. Like I said, have fun with this. Go home and play with this book yourself and see what you come up with. So we're going to not look at Alice in Wonderland from the author's view. We're not going to look at it from people that have tried to analyze this book for years. We are going to take it and look at it through our eyes as metaphysicians. So the journey of Alice can be equated to our own spiritual journey, through which we are consciously unfolding, aren't we? Consciously unfolding and beginning to live from an understanding that we are not separate from an infinite power and presence that we call God. And what happens when we make our earthly journey is we forget that. And we kind of feel like we kind of got to make our way in the world and do this and do that. And we totally forget that we are the Christ, the living expression of God in the world. And I love the Course in Miracles says, the Christ is defined as the love and loveliness of God known as you and me. Now, is that pretty or what? The love and loveliness of God known as you and me. So here we go. The story starts out, if you remember, Alice is with her two sisters on the banks of the River Thames. And Alice's sister is reading a story. Alice is bored to death. So she winds up kind of going in her own way, in her own mind, dreaming of other things, okay? Now, this probably has never happened to you. I can only imagine that wherever you are, whatever you're listening to, you're fully attentive and you never drift off. Okay, Alice is drifting off, okay. So as she's drifting off, suddenly a white rabbit with pink eyes runs close to her. So there was nothing so very remarkable in that, nor did Alice think it so very much out of the way to hear the rabbit say to itself, oh dear, I shall be late. But when the rabbit actually took a watch out of his waist pocket and looked at it and hurried on, Alice decided to follow the rabbit. Follows the rabbit right down a narrow well. Down she fell. And on the way down, though, all along the sides of the well, there are cupboards that have dishes, walls with glassware, and a jar of marmalade. Now, you could just take that one little sentence and go, okay, how can I metaphysicalize that? Okay, well, we're not going to do that, but I'll let you do that. Okay, so what's already happening to Alice? She's beginning to see that things aren't making any sense. Can you imagine going down this rabbit hole and seeing this stuff and totally losing any sense of where am I? What am I doing? What's happening? So I want to ask you this question. What caught your attention that sent you on your spiritual journey? Probably was not a white rabbit with pink eyes, but something caused you to say, I need to go check something else out. I need to find something else. Some of us kind of got into that space on our spiritual journey, maybe when we were going to more traditional churches. And I've heard this story many times where children in Sunday school would ask their teacher about something, and the teacher would kind of brush it off because she didn't have an answer. And then she would just say, well, just be quiet. I've heard that from several people as they've journeyed into a different understanding. Or maybe there was a traumatic incident in your life, and all of a sudden, all the things that you had thought about or learned in the past, you just said, this isn't working anymore. I don't get how this fits together. And then we begin on a new search for a meaning of life. So I just, sometime as you kind of move through the day, just think, how did I ever get started? Why am I sitting in this space right now? When I first found unity and began to study, I really had to totally disassemble all my old beliefs about God and Jesus and prayer, life, and even death. When I started really getting involved in Unity and reading the books and hearing what they were saying about these ideas of this oneness with an infinite power and presence. You know, I always thought that power and presence was out there somewhere. But now they're saying, no, 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 you're it. You're the expression of God in the world. I remember I would go to the Unity Church, and this was back in 1997. I would sit in that church. I would get so excited about the message. Well, first of all, I'd cry the whole time during meditation. I would just sit there and bawl my eyes out. But I would love the message that was being taught. And one time I left there, I had to cross a bridge. I literally put my money in the coin thing, and before the little thing lifted up, I just ran into it. I was like, I was buzzing. I was literally buzzing because what I was hearing was really, really resonating with my soul. You know? I also remember the definition of chemicalization that we hear from Emily Cady in her book, Lessons in Truth. She says, chemicalization is when there's a conflict that takes place within us when a higher spiritual realization contacts an old error state of consciousness. Resistance comes and a commotion is created in consciousness. Has any of you ever experienced that as you've tried to understand these new ideas or different ways of looking at the spiritual journey or anything that you would associate with your your Christian life? Back to the story. Upon landing, she begins to run after the rabbit, and she comes to a hall. There were doors all around the hall, but they were all locked. And when Alice had been all the way down one side and up the other side, trying every door, she walked sadly down the middle, wondering how she would ever get out again. Do you remember a book, I know you all studied it a couple of years ago, by Robert Brummett called Finding Yourself in Transition? And I actually think you all did it right before Linda left, Reverend Linda. And he talks about stages and phases that we go through during times of transition in our lives. And, we do it as an individual, but we also can do it as a church community, which is what you're doing now as you're looking for your brand new minister. And in this book, he says that during a time of transition, we wind up in a place called the void. And it's a time where we just wait. And so I thought about Alice in the hall. Here she is, all these doors on both sides. She's standing in the middle of the hall. She can't open any of the doors. And she's got to wait because she doesn't know what to do next. I think many of us can probably imagine that in our lives when it was like, oh my gosh, what's next? What's going to happen next? I remember so vividly, again, you know how our minds create our stories, right? I remember it felt to me when I first started in Unity that I was on a cliff and I had just jumped off, but I didn't know where I was going to land. I didn't know how I was going to use these things that I was learning. I didn't know. I didn't know how they were going to change me. How am I going to change? What am I going to do now? And that's exactly, I think, how Alice felt when she couldn't figure out how to open a door. Then suddenly, Alice notices a table with a small golden key upon it. And taking the key, she began to open every door, only to realize that the keys did not fit any of the doors. It was way too small. Then she noticed at the bottom, probably right by the carpet, was a little tiny curtain. And she looked behind the curtain and she noticed that there was a little tiny door. So she takes the key and, of course, guess what? The door opens, right? She peeks in, and what she sees down this kind of a little bit of a tunnel is a beautiful garden. A beautiful garden. And she's thinking, I want to go there, but I'm too big. What am I going to do? So what she says is, if I could see, how did she say it exactly? Alice was too big to go down the passageway, but we hear her say, "Oh, how I wish I could shut up like a telescope. And then I could, if I only know how to begin. For you see, so many way out of the way things have happened lately, but Alice had begun to think that very few things indeed were really impossible. So she's thinking, I can get into that little garden. I'm going to figure it out." And what she does is there was a water on the table in the hall, and it said, "Drink me," and when she drank it, she shrunk. And so she got through to this beautiful garden. So I want to just mention a couple of things about our journey. I love that she found a small golden key. Have any of you read The Golden Key by Emmett Fox? Okay, a lot of heads are shaking. His philosophy, his idea is so simple that it almost messes with your mind. He says, what do you do when you're feeling that you're living in a world of confusion or things don't make any sense? What do you do when things seem out of control and problems seem to be coming your way? What does the golden key say? Move your attention from that and put your attention on God. Now, that sounds so easy, but it's so hard because we just have a way of going round and round and round and round in our head with the same daggone story over and over and over and over again, totally forgetting that we have got the garden within us. That garden that offers us peace. That garden that offers us a place to sit and rest. And we go to the garden alone, as the song says, but what's there for us? The knowing that we're not alone. That I can sit in meditation and prayer, and I can turn within to the source of all good. I can turn into the source of all ideas. That I can turn into the source of unbelievable possibilities for myself. As she says, indeed were really impossible, or I thought they were. But when I go into my garden and I sit and I am still, anything is possible. Have you all ever had it happen to you? Anybody? I mean, all of a sudden you come out of time of meditation and it's like you have clarity around an issue that may have been dogging you for months because we went to the garden. We turned within. It's just something we kind of forget. We kind of do forget that. So let's see, what does she do next? Alice was too big, she couldn't get into the garden. But unlike Alice, who was too big, we have that constant ability to be in our garden. In Psalms 91:1, it's called the secret place of the Most High. In Hebrews 9:3, it's called the Holy of Holies. In John 14:11, it's called the kingdom of God within you. And as we pray and meditate, we realize indeed nothing is really impossible. Now that takes faith also, for sure. So here Alice is going to start meeting some of the characters in the story. So the first one she encounters is the caterpillar. And the caterpillar's line says, "Alice, who are you?" Of course, he's smoking that. Is it a hookah? Is that how you say that word? He's smoking that? And then Alice goes, this was not an encouraging opening for a conversation. I hardly know you, sir, just at present. At least, I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I think I must have been changed several times since then. "What do you mean by that?" said the caterpillar sternly. "Explain yourself." "I can't explain myself, I'm afraid," said Alice, "because I'm not myself, you see." And the caterpillar says, "I don't see." "Well, I'm afraid I can't put it more clearly," Alice says, "for I can't understand it myself to begin with. And being so many different sizes in a day and having so many experiences is very confusing." So, how about for us? Have we ever asked ourselves, who are we? Who am I? When you start changing and start using the teachings of unity and truth, you start to change. Now, sometimes we don't recognize it ourselves, but all of a sudden somebody will say, gosh, you just seem to be so much calmer. You know, typically that incident would have caused you to flip out. You were very calm. Or, gosh, you just have a whole different perspective on things now that you never had before. So as we grow spiritually, we begin to feel differently. Can you identify with that? And if you're listening to us, you know, via the internet, and you're just coming into Unity or just hearing a message about this for the first time, you know, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. As we grow spiritually, we may not be acting the same or responding the same. Just things start to change. Maybe we don't worry as much. Things are lighter, less intense. We're more patient. We're more joyful. Whatever. Can you remember that for yourself? That time when all of a sudden you just, you know, when you walk in here that you feel good about the day, even though maybe before you got here, you know, your eggs didn't turn out the way you thought you wanted them to turn out, or the toast was too toasted, or, you know, what, you know, just, you know, the stuff that we think about that really doesn't really matter a whole lot, does it? So the final advice from the caterpillar, he says to Alice, keep her temper. Now, for some people, they said keep a positive attitude. Some people would say that that's what it meant. And this is good advice. But what does it mean, keep her temper? You know, keep things balanced for yourself. Don't get too far out and then get a little, I'll use the word like crazy, you know. Just keep balanced. You know, look at both sides of the story. You use your spiritual eyes when you look at things. So now she gets to meet the Cheshire Cat. As Alice continues her adventure through Wonderland, she's startled and she looks up and sees a grinning Cheshire Cat, which seems to just appear and disappear. And so she says, Cheshire Cat. She began very timidly because she didn't really know if this cat was going to be friendly or not. So she looked at his nails and said, "Oh my gosh, and look at those nails. I better go easy here." So she says, "Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?" And the cat says, "Well, that depends a good deal on where you want to go." And Alice says, "I don't much care where." "Well, then it doesn't really matter which way you go, okay?" "So long as I get somewhere," Alice asked as an explanation. "Oh, you're sure to do that if you only walk long enough." So that's kind of an interesting engagement, isn't it? You know, tell me where to go. Where do you want to go? I don't know where I want to go. We'll just start walking. You'll get somewhere. You know, that kind of thing. I think it's kind of cool. And, you know, many times when we're spiritually unfolding and learning things, and, you know, we see, and gosh, there's so much on YouTube, there's so much on these podcasts, you know, people talking about spiritual this and spiritual that, and what to do and how to do it and where to go and da-da-da-da-da. And all of that is wonderful. And it certainly can add to our adventure of awakening. But at some point in time, you have to decide what is for you. What's going to allow me to grow? What's going to allow me to be more of a light in the world? What is going to allow me to be more loving, to be more kind, to be more generous, to be more compassionate? All of these things that are out there are all very wonderful. However, again, find what is for you, because we can spend an awful lot of time going in all different directions. So if you pick up something that you really like, just kind of ask yourself, is this for me? Is this going to help me grow and expand? And see what that your inner garden tells you, you know? Now she meets the very scary queen. Why? Because whenever the queen doesn't like what someone says or does, what does she say? "Off with your head." That's it. Very good. I should have been asking you guys questions all along so you could respond. Okay. Yeah, off with her head. Well, off with your head. And so Alice, she said, Alice kept her head, stayed poised and filled with courage and confidence. So what do you think the queen represents for us? Okay, well, somebody says Satan, fear. Okay, yeah. Is it that part of us that says, that like you said, in fear, says, you can't do that. Don't even worry about doing that. You can't do it. No, you'll never amount to anything, you know? And that nastiness, you know, of how we talk to ourselves sometimes and tell ourselves stuff that isn't true. You can't do it. Don't even think about it. Who do you think you are, right? Albert Einstein, Michael Jordan, Elvis Presley, Walt Disney, and Oprah Winfrey were told over and over again that they couldn't do things. They did. They didn't listen. They went into their garden where they are one with an infinite power and presence that we call God and said, I don't care what you say. If it's on my heart to do, I'm going to move in the direction. I'm going to move in that direction. I want to see what's going to happen. And all of a sudden, doors open, no pun intended, with the hallway with the doors, and things start to happen. You meet people. All of a sudden, they give you an idea. You take that idea. You run with it. You try that. Okay, okay, but another one shows up instead, and you keep moving and moving. You don't let anybody tell you you can't, you're not enough, you shouldn't, or whatever, because we are one with an infinite power and presence. We call it in unity the Christ. We have within us the ability to do and be that expression of God in the world. Why not try it, right? Why not try it? So, many more adventures happen to Alice before she finally wakes up. And where is she? She is sitting on the bank of the river. She never went anywhere. She never left home. But she sure did go on a journey, didn't she? And isn't that sometimes the way we can feel when we're on this journey of our spiritual growth? It's like we really never left home because we've never gone out of that space of God. We've never gone out of it. We can't. We can't go out of it. But we think we have. We think we've got all the answers. We think we know exactly what we're doing. We don't think we need any help many times. And yet we have within us, in our garden, a place to go and sit and listen to that inner voice within us, guiding and directing us in all ways. It's the best kept secret, you know? We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so we've just forgotten, and we've gone down a rabbit hole from the world of the invisible into the visible. And now, but we never left home. We never left the bank of the river. We stayed there the whole time. Yeah, we did. Her journey was filled with travails and humor and confusion, but Alice, she made it through. She managed to stumble through, managing her fears and chaos. She did it. And so do we, every single solitary day. You know, life throws a lot of stuff at us. Yeah. But we go to that garden and we sit and we rest. And we have that peaceful feeling, and then we move out into the world one more time. Yeah. So let's take a moment in meditation. We'll take a breath. Get relaxed in your seat. And imagine your journey, your spiritual journey to know who you are, the magnificent being that you are. Doesn't that feel wonderful? Doesn't that feel wonderful to know that nobody can determine what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and you can't, you shouldn't. You you, the essence of you, wants to express itself in the world as love and peace and joy and harmony and compassion and strength and power. And all of these things want to birth through you. So individualized that there'll never be another you. Nobody will ever do what you do the way you do it. Nobody will ever see the world as you see it. Nobody will ever experience the world as you experience it. So let us just rest in the quiet. What is that inner garden speaking to you about? That inner Christ? What is it saying to you as we rest for a few moments in the silence, in the silence, in the silence? Now I invite you just to very gently begin to bring your attention back into the room. You may have gone on some kind of an adventure and some kind of a journey, but bringing yourself back into the room very, very easily. And just when you're ready, when you feel ready, open your eyes and look around at all of us who are on this same journey. And so it is. Amen. Everybody back? Don't go for too long, okay?
Thank you, Reverend Ginny. That was beautiful. Yeah, there are so many ways and so many messages in that movie, as I was reminded. And actually, I love the question, who are you? As someone who's lived in, I don't know, 9 or 10 different states and moved around quite a lot, I think it's a wonderful question to ask somebody, who are you? Rather than just assuming you know who they are. It's a very interesting thing. The piece I'd like to play for you is written by Christine Brown. It's an original composition of hers. It's from her songbook called The Wishing Well, and it's called Stronger. And I think it really relates to the journey of Alice, and maybe our journey too here at Unity. The quote that I just had to stop the movie when I was watching it, and I'd write this down, relates to the song Stronger. I'd just like to read you the quote before I start playing. And she says, I think she's at a point where she's gotten angry. She's been through quite a lot. And one of the characters, I think it was the dog, I'm not sure, Baynard, she says, from the moment I fell down that rabbit hole, I've been told what I must do and who I must be. I've been shrunk, stretched, scratched, and stuffed into a teapot. I've been accused of being Alice and not being Alice. But this is my dream. I'll decide where it goes from here. And I love that. I think it's a great lesson for all of us. So I present to you Stronger.
Thank you, Janice. At this time, we are having our offering blessing. Please say it together with me. Divine love flows through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I have, and all that I am to receive. Father, our God. And I forgot to say that when you come forward, please, if you don't have any donations, put your hands over the baskets and then bless it. And I have an affirmation for you for the ones that are online. Listening is the most valuable gift I can give another person. Okay, please join me as we affirm our abundance. Unity of Roanoke Valley is abundantly blessed. Creative people are drawn to us. Divine ideas flow through us. Financial resources bless us. And we accomplish mighty works together. Okay, now we have the announcement time. Lovely. Would you like to read the daily word or be the platform assistant at an oncoming Sunday service? The sign-up sheet is on the bulletin board in the fellowship hall. Classes will be available to assist and practice. In the spirit of neighbor helping neighbor, we are partnering with Huddle Up Moms for a diaper drive during February. So this is your last week or last day, whichever one you want to consider it. We are collecting diapers and baby wipes, any size or brand, to help support families with young children. Collection boxes will be in the narthex throughout February. Funds will also be used to buy formula according to clients' specific needs. You can make checks payable to Unity of Roanoke Valley with diaper drive in the memo. Envelopes for cash donations can be found in the narthex. The Unity Giving Garden team will begin prepping the garden for spiritual planting on Saturday, March 4th. Now, if it rains, the rain date is March 11th. All are welcome to join in the fun. No experience necessary. Gee, that ought to be interesting. If you have garden tools, bring them along. If not, we will have enough to share. Just meet at the garden behind the labyrinth at 10 a.m. It's back. The Unity Community Yard Sale, Saturday, May 20th, from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Debbie and Greg have started the progress sign up in Fellowship Hall to be a member of the team. We are collecting hangers and books now and household items, clothes, and more soon. Make plans to clean out and support our community yard sale. Sunday Century starts today, February 26th at 12:30 p.m. and also at 1 p.m. with introductions to handbells with Pat Eby. Come see your bells. Sign up in the fellowship hall. Our board of directors representative this week is Amina. Did I say that correctly? Amina. Sorry, I keep trying to say it correctly. Amina Hughes. Reach out with any questions, feedback, or messages for the board. At this time, I would invite the children to come forward.
I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good to see everyone. What a beautiful day. We've had a lovely day in our part of the country over there in our youth program. And I think Jocelyn made something that she might want to show. Look at this. Oh, come on, Jocelyn. Maybe you saw it when she was coming down the aisle. We explored the lesson of a prism. And you know, a prism has one light, but many colors. And so Jocelyn made her own prism. Yes. And I think Steve's group, what did you want to share with us about what you talked about? Who's going to share? Riley?
Both of us.
Okay, let's get closer so you can get to the mic, okay? What did you want to share?
God is everything.
God is everything. Woo! Yeah, he just turned up the mic. And how about our teens? Nevaeh, would you share what the teens did today?
We explored the feeling of being left out and how it's a choice.
Yes, yes. And when you feel left out, a lot of time it involves making assumptions and taking things personally. And sometimes it's hard not to do that, but we're doing our best. All right. Here we go.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be with God as creator. Our children all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
The light of God. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The
Power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
So as we leave this beautiful time together today to have a wonderful week, we just feel in gratitude for each and every one of you that come on Sunday and learn and listen and go out there and be that light in the world. We are so blessed by each and every one of you. And so it is. Amen.